Morning, everybody. I've noticed recently, sure this is on, that it's been a while since I did an INFJ video. And there's been a topic on my mind, recent conversations have brought back to the forefront. And while it is known by most people who watch these videos that, INFJ men are the rarest personality type amongst men. And we seem to be different than the vast majority of men, particularly in the eyes of women. So, something that I've been processing in my head over the years. I wanted to do a video, of 10 things that set INFJ men apart from other men in the eyes of women. So, 10 traits that INFJ men typically have, the way we typically act, that is not typical amongst those of the male gender as a whole, and how many women, find these traits attractive in us INFJ men. And I made notes because this was a lot of this I did on a phone conversation, so paper notes today. Number one, INFJ men have layers. We are very deep people, very emotional people. So we're not into surface level conversation, as I've mentioned before. Everything to us has a meaning. Everything we do has a reason behind it. We see the big picture. We have long-term goals. We're rarely ever living for the day. We're always thinking about the big picture, and that is atypical amongst, the majority of men seeking to simply have a good time. Number two, inaccessibility. So we're not the most accessible people. The fact that, in modern culture, it is still, for the most part, expected for a male to make a first move and, try to start a conversation with somebody that they potentially see romantic interest in. Yeah, we're not good at that. We're actually really, really bad at it. So INFJs, we're very selective of who we open up to. And even if someone we deem physically attractive, shows interest in us, we're not going to automatically open up because we see that as an opportunity to get in, so to say, algorithm. We will take time to get to know that person to see if we indeed like them as a whole and deem them trustworthy to let our guard down. INFJs, male and female, are notorious for our trust issues because we're very genuine, compassionate, empathetic people who seek to help others. And sadly, particularly in our younger years, people take advantage of that. And that leaves emotional scars. I have them. Can't see them because they're emotional. Well, I have a lot of physical scars too. So yeah, this inaccessibility is something, that shows we're not just about surface level and physical intimacy, because we're so selective of who we open up to and who we are willing to share our secrets with. And it goes into our all or nothing syndrome. If an INFJ is going to open up to you, we're going to open up completely, all or nothing. Either we trust you or you don't. There's none of this, maybe a little, half let you in. No, it's all or nothing, as with most things with us. 3, INFJ men are honest. I can certainly speak from experience. When forming that initial connection with, a potential new romantic partner, when you both are admitting that you potentially want to date each other, an INFJ man, unlike most men apparently, will right from the start explain, what we are about. Like for me, for example, I'll mention right on, I'm a demisexual. I only do long-term relationships. I'm looking for, a true and deep connection. I'll even mention how many past partners I've had. People ask. I'll tell them. And I usually get funny looks when a man my age who looks like me tells a woman that his number is in the single digits. Yeah, kind of odd. But nonetheless, we are honest to a fault. We are terrible liars, and we will be very open about what we're seeking in a partner and who we are as a person. It's like, this is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. This is who I am, no BS. So, give me your honest opinion. And if the potential partner here's that information and you're not what they're looking for and they walk away, we're absolutely fine with that. We're not trying to ever influence somebody to do something they don't want to do. All we're ever really asking for is, I'm going to be honest to you and I'm asking you to do the same. If I find out that you're pretending to be somebody that you're not, well, then I'm going to walk away. So a little tip for INFJ men. We're very understanding and compassionate about people's past and the circumstances that may have happened to put them in that past, but we're not judgmental that way. But we hate being lied to, because that breaks trust and then, can't be repaired, and door slam, we're gone. So be open about who you are and what you're looking for with an INFJ man, if indeed you are considering pursuing an INFJ man, if indeed you find one. Because part of the reason why I'm doing this video is, I have a lot of female friends and acquaintances over the years who, when I see them, some of these women I only see once or twice a year now, they always comment about how, I'm different than all the other men they've ever known. Well, statistically speaking, I am a heterosexual INFJ male. INFJ men as a whole are only about 0.5% of the population. So it's, not that likely that they would meet another one within, their same age range, because you're more prone to interacting with people roughly the same age. Number 4, INFJ men are not traditionalists. We depart from traditional roles. INFJ men, it is impossible to try to place us in any stereotypes. We are rightfully called a walking paradox. So to try to stereotype us into any typical stereotype of men, it just none of them fit. Yeah. We contradict, or not contradict, but we are the exception to just about everything. We are a paradox through and through. And, we're not a fan, and we often, though being male, hate the status quo, hate, tradition for tradition's sake. As idealists, we also, want to make a egalitarian world. We're big believers in equal rights, so we are often supporters of causes, that are, quote, against our tribe. You won't see an INFJ male in an old boys club. You'll see an INFJ male battling an old boys club all the time. Been doing it for 20 years. They don't go down so easy. Just it's a hard fight. Yeah. We are very open to taking on non-traditional roles. Like an INFJ male would be perfectly fine being the one who stays home with the little kids, if his wife or partner was the one, with the more successful career. We also, a lot of times will be the one who cook and clean and all that, because a lot of us seem to know how to do that. And when we have feelings for somebody, we like to show our affection all the time by doing little stuff without them asking us. We just do it. It's how we show affection, not with, things that just happen to have a big price tag while we barely pay them any attention. So there's an element of surprise there with us. That's number 5. Our characteristics can be quite surprising because we're not able to be stereotyped. It's hard to box us in. So over time, more little traits about an INFJ man are going to come out that most women are going to find that surprising, because it's atypical, and a lot of times there'll be traits that they didn't think existed within men, because a lot of these traits are often traditionally described as feminine traits, which leads me in the 6. INFJ men are caring and nurturing. Of the male population, we tend to have the most maternal instincts when it comes to children, and we also tend to be the most in tune with our feminine side. As I've said before, hey, I have an X chromosome too, every male does. There's never, just biology for a minute, there has never been a male born without an X chromosome. Some are born with more than one. There's certain genetic conditions where men are born with like XXY or XXXY. Women normally are born with XX, 2X chromosomes. There are biological birth disorders, I guess is what it's called, where a woman is born with only one X chromosome. XO, I believe, is Turner syndrome. It's been a long time since my college bio classes. But my point being is there has never in the history of humanity that we know of been a man that was like born YO. Like every man has at least one X chromosome. It's just biology. So we are caring and nurturing, and we are always seeking to make our partner smile because of our empathy and our intuition. We're very in tune to how our partner's feeling. And because of that empathy, if our partner's upset, we'll be upset. And we can read them. We can read them without them talking once we get to know someone. And believe it or not, when someone opens up to us and we open up back because, we trust them, we get it pretty attuned to their energy pretty quick. So we're always, trying to cheer our partner up. We do little things that make them happy without them asking, things that they might not know that, we know, because INFJ men, we're good listeners and we pay attention. And we pay attention and do things to make our partner smile, not looking for, something in return. We do it because we want to, because we genuinely like to make our partners happy, just like we genuinely like to cuddle without perhaps think with, even if there's no chance of, things progressing further, so to say. So we're also very, very supportive. An INFJ male, a lot of us, myself included, do seem to be drawn to ambitious women. And in those instances, we are, our partner's biggest supporter. And we don't care if we're, if we're male and she's female and she's more successful and makes more money than us. It doesn't bother us at all. We just hope it doesn't bother her too, as long as there's not a double standard, because we hate double standards as a whole. It's a lot of the reason why we go after, old boys clubs. Double standards are bad. So yeah, that's something that also greatly sets us apart from the majority of, men. Like, for instance, a male INFJ who is a firefighter would not be uncomfortable at all dating a female who is, say, a successful doctor or lawyer or businesswoman. Get it? And not care what anybody else says. We'd even be the one to stay home with the kids, assuming we had any, especially in that scenario, because firefighters only work 2 24-hour shifts a week. Great schedule. I miss it. Number 7, INFJ men seek a genuine connection. Yes, as I spoke about at length, the majority of INFJ men and INFJs as a whole are demisexual. I've done a couple videos on that. So we are seeking a genuine connection. We are seeking a long-term relationship. In fact, we've been seeking our soulmate since we were 12. Where for us, it's all about finding that one true deep connection, that soulmate. It's not about, rack up a certain body count, bro. Slayed 6 this weekend kind of thing. We are, as I've said, very much into the big picture and long-term and, end game. We want someone that we can spend the rest of our life with, who truly understands us and appreciates us for who we are as a person, and not, superficial things like, he's got this kind of car and this job and, he makes this much money. And the worst one is, he's connected to these people in this old boys club that's essentially a continuation of a high school clique. I'm going to stop myself from going on a rant about where I live. So yes, we're very loyal, and a lot of INFJ men, and this might be a little anecdotal, but for me anyway, not only are we demisexual, but we can only be interested in one partner at a time. So if we are interested in somebody and we have that connection, there could be other women potentially throwing themselves at us. And not only will we not be tempted, we, for the most part, won't even notice it. Trust me. It's true. So number 8 is the INFJ gaze. The way, when an INFJ is in love, despite the fact that we are introverted, the way we look at somebody when we are in love is quite obvious, and it is noted as the INFJ gaze. Like, if I had a woman in my life and, I was in a long-term relationship and I was referring to her as my dream girl, the way I would look at her would indicate that that is, I'm telling the truth, that it is not just something I'm saying, that I truly believe that. We are not ever tempted to trade up because we don't ever enter relationships thinking like, whoa, it's better than being alone and we'll have a little fling now until I find somebody better to trade up. No, if we're entering a long-term relationship with somebody, or just a relationship in general, is because we've already deemed in our minds that we see real potential and something real there, a real deep connection. Number 9, we have depth and openness, and we do not judge others for their past or things that they themselves deem as past mistakes. Essentially, we just ask for them to be, honest to us and not lie to us. Things that happen prior to us entering a relationship together is not something we will judge someone for. However, anything to break the mutual trust that an INFJ will be quite open about requiring and, expecting to be reciprocated, breaking that trust is where you get the INFJ door slam. That may seem cruel, but we're very open about that in the beginning. It's not like that's coming out of nowhere. It is a deal breaker for us. We probably not winning back our trust. It's to win back an INFJ's trust after you've been door slammed requires a Herculean task, it seems. And number 10, INFJ men have integrity. Big surprise, I'm going to talk about integrity again. Not only do we have integrity, it is at the forefront of who we are, and it is something about our character that we will not break, no matter if it causes us personal detriment. Been living that for a while. Or, if it makes us outcasts and not popular. INFJ men, when we are interested in somebody and we form a connection with them, what others think about that relationship is completely irrelevant to us. So if we have a connection with somebody and other people are trying to break us up based on, the typical gossip and gaslighting and, status quo-y things, we're not even going to pay attention. We'll probably spotlight that person. I did a video about INFJ spotlighting. You don't want to be on the other. It's not a good spotlight to be under. So I hope this video was informative about 10 things that separate INFJ men from the majority of other men and why women like them. So remember, trust your intuition if you think you're dealing with an INFJ man, and know that when you are with an INFJ man, he's not going to sell out his integrity for